You think the reason you haven't built the life you dream of is laziness. You think it's because you don't wake up early enough. You think it's because you can't stick to routines. You think it's because you lack willpower. That's the myth you've been sold. That's the story you tell yourself to feel safe. But the truth is sharper, deeper, harder to accept. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Because laziness is a mask. Laziness is the excuse that hides what's really happening. Laziness is what you call it when you sit down, phone in your hand, scrolling away minutes, hours, days. But underneath that behavior is not a body that refuses to move, it is a mind that refuses to believe. You're not lying on the couch because you love comfort. You're lying there because you doubt your effort matters. You doubt your strength is enough. You doubt your future will reward your grind. That's why you don't move. Not because you're lazy, but because you don't believe. How many times have you said, "Tomorrow I'll start"? How many times have you whispered, "One day I'll change"? That's not laziness speaking. That's doubt. Because doubt convinces you there will always be more time. Doubt whispers, "Wait until you're ready." Doubt tells you, you don't have what it takes. Doubt is the quiet killer. Laziness is a shadow, but doubt is the knife. Most people fight the wrong battle. They buy planners. They download habit trackers. They punish themselves for not being disciplined enough. But all the discipline in the world cannot survive if your belief is broken. You don't need another morning routine, you need conviction. You don't need another productivity hack, you need certainty. Because once you believe, action follows. Once you kill doubt, laziness dies with it. Think about it. When was the last time you felt absolutely certain about something? Maybe it was a person you loved. Maybe it was a cause you believed in. Did you have to force yourself to act? Did you need a YouTube video to motivate you? No. You moved naturally, effortlessly, relentlessly, because certainty destroys hesitation. When belief burns in your chest, laziness doesn't exist. So understand this, the war is not against laziness. The war is against doubt. And doubt wears 1,000 disguises. It shows up as procrastination. It shows up as perfectionism. It shows up as endless planning, as waiting for the right time, as comparing yourself to everyone else. But underneath every disguise, it's the same disease, the belief that you are not enough. That's the truth most people never face. They spend their entire lives whipping themselves for being lazy, while the real parasite eats away at their courage. They try new jobs, new hobbies, new diets, new tools. But every time they quit, they blame laziness. They never realize it was doubt that killed them. Doubt that whispered, "This won't work." Doubt that sneered, "Who do you think you are?" Doubt that mocked, "You'll never be like them." And here's the tragedy, doubt feels reasonable. Laziness feels shameful, but doubt feels logical. It wears the mask of wisdom. It tells you to be realistic. It tells you to play it safe. It pretends to protect you from failure, but really it protects you from growth. Laziness will steal hours. Doubt will steal decades. The refrain you must burn into your mind is this: the real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Say it again. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Every time you feel yourself hesitating, remember. Every time you feel yourself procrastinating, remember. Every time you think you are lazy, remind yourself, You are not fighting your body, you are fighting your belief. Mini story 1. There was a young man who dreamed of writing a book. He called himself lazy. He said, "I can't focus. I can't sit down and do the work." But the truth was, every time he stared at the blank page, a voice inside whispered, "What if it's terrible? What if no one reads it? What if I'm not good enough?" That wasn't laziness, that was doubt. When he silenced the voice, when he decided to write no matter how bad it was, the words came. And the book was born. Laziness didn't stop him, doubt did. So ask yourself, how many dreams have you buried under the lie of laziness? How many talents have you wasted because you let doubt disguise itself as fatigue? How many times have you convinced yourself you were tired, when really you were just terrified? The clock is ticking. Life is passing. Every moment you bow to doubt is a moment you never get back. Do you see now? Laziness is easy to fight. You can stand up, drink coffee, push yourself. But doubt sinks into your bones. Doubt eats your ambition before it breathes. Doubt convinces you to never even try. And that's why so many lives are wasted. Not because of laziness, but because of doubt. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Look closely at the people you admire. The athletes, the entrepreneurs, the artists. Do you really think they never felt lazy? Do you really believe they wake up every day exploding with energy? Of course not. They feel the same heaviness you feel. They hear the same whisper to stay in bed, to rest, to wait. But here's the difference, they don't let doubt win. They silence the voice that says, "You can't." They smother the thought that says, "Why even try?" They act, not because they never feel lazy, but because they refuse to let doubt decide their life. And this is why you must see clearly, laziness is a symptom. Doubt is the disease. If you chase the symptom, you'll never heal. If you attack laziness with hacks and routines, you'll always relapse. Because the root cause remains. The parasite is still inside you. Doubt will always invent new ways to paralyze you, until you choose to kill it at the root. Mini story 2. A woman wanted to run a marathon. For years, she told her friends, "I'm too lazy." But that wasn't the truth. Every time she thought about training, she heard, "You're too old. You'll get injured. You'll embarrass yourself." That was doubt. One day, she decided to ignore the voice and run anyway. Step by step, her legs got stronger. Mile by mile, her lungs adapted. She finished the marathon. Not because she destroyed laziness, but because she destroyed doubt. And you, how many marathons of the soul have you abandoned? How many journeys have you never begun because you thought you were lazy? Be honest. You've been fighting the wrong battle. You've been treating laziness as the dragon, when in truth, it's just a shadow on the wall. The real dragon breathes fire inside your chest. The real dragon is doubt. But here is the hope, doubt can be beaten. It is not immortal. It is not invincible. It is not destiny. Doubt dies the moment you choose action without certainty. Doubt dies the moment you say, "I may fail, but I will try." Doubt dies when you take one step forward, then another, no matter how unsure you feel. Laziness cannot survive when doubt is dead. The refrain is your weapon. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Engrave it in your mind. Speak it until it burns in your soul. Because the next time you feel yourself scrolling for hours, it's not laziness, it's doubt whispering, "You'll never build something better." The next time you feel yourself avoiding the gym, it's not laziness, it's doubt saying, "You'll never change anyway." The next time you put off your dreams, it's not laziness, it's doubt mocking, "Who do you think you are?" Kill that voice, and laziness loses all its power. Mini story 3. There was a student who dreamed of becoming a doctor. Everyone told him it was impossible. Too much work. Too expensive. Too competitive. He internalized their words and labeled himself lazy. He stopped studying. He gave up before he started. Years later, he looked back and realized it wasn't laziness that killed his dream. It was doubt. If only he had believed, he could have endured the grind. He could have fought for the chance. But doubt stole it from him. That's the danger. Laziness only delays. Doubt destroys. Laziness wastes hours. Doubt wastes lifetimes. So I ask you, will you keep blaming laziness, or will you face the real enemy? Will you keep fighting shadows, or will you face the dragon? Will you let doubt keep you in chains, or will you cut the rope and rise? This is the beginning. This is the awakening. The myth is broken. The truth is revealed. And the refrain echoes like thunder, the real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Most people think the problem is discipline. They think, if only I had more willpower, I would succeed. They think it's about waking up earlier, grinding harder, pushing longer. But they miss the truth. Because even the most disciplined plan collapses if doubt is in control. Doubt poisons every effort before it bears fruit. You can wake up at 5 a.m. every day, but if you don't believe your work matters, you will quit. You can write pages every night, but if you doubt your voice, you will burn them before the world ever reads them. The issue is not effort. The issue is belief. Most people let doubt run their lives. That's why they give up halfway. That's why they never finish what they start. That's why they say, it wasn't meant to be. But the rare person, the one who succeeds, learns to choke doubt before it chokes them. That person feels fear, feels hesitation, feels uncertainty, but moves anyway. That person chooses action over doubt. That's the difference. Mini story 1. A boxer entered the ring for his first real fight. Everyone said he wasn't ready. He felt the doubt in his stomach like fire. The bell rang. He could have frozen. He could have let doubt paralyze him. Instead, he swung. He fought. He lost the match, but he gained something greater, proof that doubt could not stop him. That fight lit a fire that no one could extinguish. Years later, he became a champion. Not because laziness disappeared, but because doubt lost its grip. Do you see it now? Laziness is surface level. Doubt is underground. And underground roots destroy mighty trees. Most people, they live shallow lives because they only cut the weeds on the surface. They beat themselves up for laziness. They buy more planners. They shout at themselves in the mirror. But the roots, doubt, fear, insecurity, remain untouched. That's why nothing changes. That person, that rare one who rises, digs deeper. They don't just fight laziness. They confront the root. They confront doubt head-on. They say, yes, I'm scared. Yes, I don't know how. But I will act anyway. And in that decision, they unlock everything. Mini story 2. A young woman wanted to launch a business. Every night she told herself she was lazy. She'd watch TV instead of working. She'd scroll instead of planning. But the truth? Every time she considered starting, the voice came, "You'll fail. You're not smart enough. No one will care." That wasn't laziness. That was doubt. One day, she finally realized the difference. She said, "I may fail, but I will try." She launched. It was messy. It was imperfect. But customers came. Growth came. Confidence came. And laziness? It vanished because doubt was silenced. Most people wait until they feel ready. That's doubt talking. Doubt disguises itself as wisdom. Be patient. Be realistic. Wait until the timing is perfect. But there is no perfect time. The perfect time is the mask of doubt. That person knows this. That person acts before they're ready. That person jumps before the fear leaves. And in the leap, they find their wings. Discipline versus feelings. Most people let their feelings lead. They say, "I don't feel motivated. I don't feel like working." But the truth is, they're not being led by feelings, they're being led by doubt. Because doubt whispers, "What's the point? Why even try?" And when you believe that lie, your feelings collapse. That person, they flip the script. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" They ask, "Do I believe it matters?" And because they believe, they move. Feelings follow. Mini story 3. A runner trained for years. Every morning at dawn, his body screamed to stay in bed. Was that laziness? No. It was doubt. The whisper said, "You'll never win. You'll never be fast enough. Why bother?" But he chose to silence it. He chose to act despite it. He showed up every day. And on the day of the race, he crossed the finish line first. Not because he had no laziness. Not because he had no fear. But because he conquered doubt. Responsibility. Most people blame their past. Their parents. Their teachers. Their circumstances. Doubt fuels this blame. Doubt convinces them they're powerless. But that person, they take ownership. They say, "I may not control the world, but I control my choices." And when you take responsibility, doubt loses one of its strongest weapons. Because responsibility says, "I have power." Doubt says, "You don't." One destroys the other. Mini story 4. A man failed in business. Lost money. Lost trust. Lost hope. For years he called himself lazy. He said, "I didn't work hard enough." But deep down, he knew it wasn't laziness, it was doubt. Doubt made him believe he could never recover. Doubt made him give up before trying again. Until one day, he chose differently. He took responsibility. He started again. Slowly. Carefully. Boldly. Within years, he built something greater than before. Because he finally killed doubt. Fear versus courage. Most people think courage means no fear. Wrong. Courage means acting while doubt screams. Laziness is not the barrier, fear fueled by doubt is. That person, they step into fear. They lean into the fire. They say, yes, I hear the voice, but I will walk anyway. Consistency. Most people quit. They stop when progress is slow. Doubt whispers, it's not working. Give up. Laziness doesn't end dreams. Doubt does. That person persists. That person shows up even when doubt screams in their ear. And in the showing up, they silence the voice. Do you feel the pattern? Do you feel the truth? Every story you tell yourself about laziness is a disguise. The root is doubt. And the only cure is belief in action. Not belief that guarantees success. Belief that says, I will act regardless of the outcome. That's where power begins. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Long-term vision. Most people never commit to a vision beyond the next weekend. They let doubt convince them that planning too far ahead is foolish. They say, who knows what will happen? Why dream so big? And so they stay small. But that person, the rare one, chooses the opposite. They dare to see 10 years ahead. They dare to imagine a future version of themselves stronger, wiser, freer. Doubt whispers, it's impossible. They answer, watch me. And step by step, vision becomes reality. Mini story 5. A boy from a small town dreamed of becoming a pilot. Everyone laughed. His family told him to stay practical. His friends said, people like us don't do that. Doubt almost swallowed him whole. But he refused. He studied. He worked jobs no one wanted. He saved every dollar. Years later, he flew above the clouds. Not because he killed laziness, but because he strangled doubt. Serving others. Most people think only of themselves. And doubt fuels that selfishness. Doubt says, if you give, you'll have less. Doubt says, if you help, you'll fall behind. But that person knows the truth. Service multiplies. Service strengthens. Service silences doubt. Because when you focus on lifting others, you stop obsessing over your own insecurities. Mini story 6. A woman battled doubt for years. She never felt good enough. Until she began mentoring younger students. Every time she helped them, she realized she had value. She realized she knew more than she believed. Her doubt shrank. Her confidence grew. Service saved her. Most people live like prisoners. Chains of doubt around their wrists. Chains of doubt around their minds. They don't even try to break free because doubt has convinced them the chains are too strong. But that person, they tug. They pull. They strain until the links snap. They realize the chains were never locked. They were illusions all along. Consistency again. Doubt is loudest when progress is slow. That's when most people quit. But consistency kills doubt. Every repeated action is proof that the voice is lying. Every small step compounds into unstoppable momentum. Mini story 7. A man wanted to learn the guitar. The first weeks were painful. His fingers hurt. The chords sounded ugly. Doubt laughed, "You'll never be good." He almost quit. But he chose consistency. 10 minutes a day. Then 20. Then hours. Years later, he played with mastery. Not because he silenced laziness, but because he silenced doubt through relentless repetition. Do you feel it? The thread that connects them all? The student who wrote the book, the runner who trained, the business owner who launched, the pilot who flew, the mentor who served, the guitarist who played. Their enemy was never laziness. It was doubt. And when they killed doubt, laziness died too. Most people still don't get it. They still blame laziness. They still buy new productivity tools. They still chase hacks. But hacks won't kill doubt. Hacks treat the symptom, not the cause. That person, the one you must become, fights differently. They declare war on doubt. They stop waiting for certainty. They stop waiting for approval. They stop waiting for the fear to vanish. They act in the presence of doubt. They act in spite of it. And in doing so, they prove the voice wrong. Let me tell you this, doubt will never leave you completely. It will always whisper. It will always lurk. But you get to decide whether it commands you or follows you. Doubt can ride in the back seat, but never let it drive. The refrain must echo again. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Say it until it burns into your identity. Say it until every hesitation feels like betrayal. Say it until you can no longer confuse tiredness with fear. Mini Story 8. A team of climbers faced a brutal mountain. Storms raged. Supplies ran low. Half of them turned back, claiming exhaustion. But exhaustion wasn't the truth. It was doubt. The ones who pressed forward were just as tired, just as cold, just as sore. The only difference, they didn't let doubt control the decision. They reached the summit, while the others stayed in the valley, telling themselves they were too lazy. Most people live in that valley. Comfortable, safe, untested. They call themselves lazy, but really, they're prisoners of doubt. That person climbs. That person faces the storm. That person reaches the summit. So here's the turning point: stop blaming laziness. Stop beating yourself up for procrastination. Look deeper. Ask the harder question. What am I doubting right now? Am I doubting my ability? Am I doubting my worth? Am I doubting the possibility of success? That's the root. Cut it out. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. This is the moment where everything sharpens, where excuses collapse, where illusions break. Because you've seen it now, you've seen behind the curtain. You've spent years calling yourself lazy, weak, undisciplined. You've shamed yourself. You've punished yourself. And yet nothing changed. Why? Because you were shadowboxing, fighting the wrong opponent. The truth is here now, burning in your chest. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Think about your life. How many times did you call yourself lazy when really you were afraid? How many times did you beat yourself up when the real villain was the whisper, "What if I fail?" How many opportunities died not because you were too tired, but because you doubted your power to rise? Laziness was never the killer. Doubt pulled the trigger. And now, knowing this, you cannot go back. You cannot unsee it. You cannot pretend. Every time you hesitate, you will know the truth. This is doubt trying to steal your future. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you will know the parasite behind those words. Every time you feel yourself freeze, you will know you are not lazy. You are under attack. And the enemy's name is doubt. So what do? You fight back. You stop letting doubt whisper unchecked. You stop letting it define you. You build weapons against it. Action is your sword. Commitment is your shield. Repetition is your armor. And belief, the deep, unshakable belief that you were made for more, is your war cry. Most people will never do this. Most people will die in doubt's prison. They will carry regrets heavier than any weight they ever lifted. They will wonder why they never became who they could have been. And on their last day, they will not cry over laziness, they will cry over doubt. But not you. You are awake now. You are armed. You know the name of your enemy. You are no longer swinging blindly. You are aiming straight at the throat of the thing that has kept you small. And when you strike, everything changes. Mini story 9. A painter lived in silence for decades. She told herself she was lazy, too tired after work, too drained to create. But inside, it wasn't laziness, it was doubt whispering, "You're not good enough. No one will care." One night, she snapped. She picked up the brush and painted. The first strokes were shaky. The voice screamed louder. But she kept going. Years later, her art hung in galleries. She wasn't lazy. She was doubting. Once doubt died, her art lived. You must understand, doubt will always try to disguise itself. Tomorrow, it may come dressed as logic. Next week, it may come dressed as realism. But you will recognize it now. You will see the pattern. And you will remember the refrain, the real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. So repeat it. Say it out loud. Whisper it when you wake. Shout it when you falter. Engrave it on your mind. Because this truth will save you when nothing else can. Most people, they will stay in the valley. They will wait for motivation to strike. They will search for discipline tricks. They will blame laziness until the day they die. But that person, the one who rises, the one who refuses chains, knows the truth. And because they know, they win. Be that person. Be the one who sees doubt for what it is. Be the one who cuts it down with relentless action. Be the one who stops waiting to feel ready. Be the one who decides, today, to believe. Because belief is not a mood. Belief is a decision. A decision that must be made again and again, every day, until doubt no longer has a voice. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. Picture your future self. The one who broke free. The one who silenced doubt. What do they look like? Stronger. Braver. Clearer. They are not free from pain, not free from effort, not free from fear, but they are free from the chains of doubt. And that freedom makes them unstoppable. Now picture the other version of you. The one who stayed. The one who listened to the whispers. The one who blamed laziness. Their eyes are dim. Their heart is heavy. They move through life half alive, carrying 1,000 excuses. That version of you is possible too. And the choice between them is being made every single day. Every day you either feed doubt or starve it. Every day you either give it power or take it back. Every day you either say, I can't, or you say, I will. And the difference is not small, it is life or death for your dreams. Mini story 10. A young athlete trained for the Olympics. Everyone called her lazy when she skipped practices. But the truth was, every time she thought about competing, the voice of doubt screamed, "You'll never be good enough." One day, she stopped calling herself lazy. She faced the truth. She said, "This is doubt. And doubt is a liar." She trained anyway. She failed, she stumbled, she cried. But she rose. And years later, she stood on the podium with a medal around her neck. Not because laziness disappeared, but because doubt was defeated. You see, when you misdiagnose the enemy, you waste your life fighting shadows. When you name the enemy, you can finally win. That's why today matters. Because today you know the truth. And once you know, you can never unknow. The refrain must echo louder than ever. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. So how do you win? You move. You act. You refuse to wait until you feel ready. You refuse to wait for confidence to appear. You refuse to wait for the perfect plan. You choose action in the face of doubt. You choose consistency in the face of fear. You choose responsibility in the face of excuses. Most people will never do this. They will die with songs unsung, books unwritten, dreams unlived, all because of doubt. But not you. Not anymore. Because you see it now. You know the truth. And truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. This is your moment. This is your call. This is your battle. No one can fight it for you. No one can kill doubt on your behalf. You must do it. You must swing the sword. You must silence the whisper. And when you do, the world will see who you really are. Be that person. The one who acts. The one who believes. The one who fights doubt until the last breath. Be the person who proves that greatness is not about talent, not about luck, not about laziness, but about belief. Because belief builds discipline. Belief fuels courage. Belief makes consistency possible. Belief keeps you standing when everyone else falls. And belief kills doubt. So let this be the moment. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not someday. Today. Stand up. Say it with me, the real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. And today I choose to believe. Let that be your declaration. Let that be your anthem. Let that be the fire in your chest every time doubt tries to whisper again. The real enemy is not laziness. It is doubt. And doubt will not have the final word.